And welcome back to the Dean Obeidallah Show. We're live here January 5th, the first What Just Happened of 2024. We got two great people. We only need two to fill the role of three. Liz Miele, my good friend, you could see her YouTube specials, over 1 million views, her last three specials in a row. A new one's coming up soon. Author of the book, Why Cats Are Assholes, and a special edition of her podcast, Two Non-Doctors. Special bonus edition is available now. Hey, Liz, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
It's good to see you. I saw Liz in person for the first time since COVID at the comic strip here in New York on Tuesday night after my show. I did a spot. I'm like, there's Liz. I know you. So,
well, so I think, was it last year I posted that because you hosted the first show I ever did 21 years ago. So I had like a little VHS that I made into an MP4.
I saw that.
Wow.
And I do the same jokes, Hal. You'll be proud. Hal Sparks is back. Comedian. You know him from everything from TV series, the host of Talk Soup, to, of course, Stephanie Miller's show, Nerd Hale and his band, and Sexy Liberal Tour is coming to your city, San Fran, First City. When is that? February?
Yep. It's January 20th. Yeah, Nerd Halen plays King's Fest in February, and it's just you know what? I lost my agent in the big decimation of ICMCAA last a year and a half ago, and I've never worked so much in my life.
Agents slow us down.
It's a very strange thing. And by the way, Liz, why couldn't I have met you at least virtually before I ended up with 5 cats? I just feel like I could have been. Yeah,
I have 2, bud.
We got 2 ferals and 3 rescues. Yeah.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Liz froze at 2 cats.
Yeah, I think the cat bit the cable right at the second that she was doing it. Like they were waiting to pounce, just like that,
Liz,
like a Christmas
froze like
Christmas lights, just biting down on. Yeah.
Can I ask you, before we talk about anything else, since you are a cat, I don't hate cats. They're nice. I think they're adorable when they're kittens, of course, and stuff like that. But they are intentionally malicious. And I see this on TikTok. And TikTok, the young people are learning about the Middle East and they're learning about cats. No, here's the thing about TikTok. Can I just say about the cats before you defend them? What I find interesting, there's a video where there's a cat, people are sleeping in their bed, and there's a glass of water, and the cat just inches it forward to the edge and then looks down and inches it and then finally hits the glass of water. This is not animated. This is real life stuff.
Yeah.
I've seen cats do this. Can you guys explain? I'm not kidding.
First of all,
Liz, we'll start with you. You wrote a book about cats.
That's a scientist. You're just, you have a scientist in your home. And
that's
if Isaac Newton did that, everybody puts him in fucking science.
Yeah.
books.
An apple lands on his head accidentally. Yeah. He's a genius. Cat figures out how gravity works to wake you up and get a snack. And they're an asshole. I get it.
Exactly. So that's a scientist, and you can't stifle brilliant minds. The other thing is they're just not domesticated. Like, that's actually just a fact. Like, they're barely domesticated.
We are. They domesticate us.
For sure. And sorry.
No, so humans are more domesticated than cats. Is that what you're? Because I haven't had a cat since I was a child. I'm really allergic to them. They have fine hair, and it really irritates my allergies. But I think they're cute. Don't get me wrong. It's not like I hate cats. I just like dogs a lot.
Well, cats like you as well. And I think that dogs are the pet. I love dogs as well. My dad, we just had a big Christmas thing. We had to put down one of my dad's dogs. We all sat around for the whole process. It was very heartbreaking. Tears were shed. It was no, not at all. It was a lovely experience that we could all be there with my dad for it and all that kind of stuff. Beautiful animal, wonderful. But they like you in spite of everything, which I think it takes a certain kind of mentality to want that as a pet. It's a little bit like a master submissive kind of situation.
Being in MAGA. It's like being in MAGA. It's like
Oh, totally. Where cats are like, I'll just eat you when you die. So you really have to earn their respect. It takes work. It's not a lazy man's pet.
I didn't even realize that you could see there's Lunchbox right there.
So. Oh, Lunchbox. What's happening?
Winston Churchill said that his favorite pet was a pig. He says, because dogs look up to you, cats look down at you, but pigs look you in the eye. And that's the word. So that's why he had a pig.
There are some cute pig videos. I'm not going to lie.
There are. Yeah. Also, for the record, the pets look like their animal, or like owners look like their pets, or vice versa. It depends on which way they go first. And with Churchill, that makes a lot of sense. I can see him next to his pig and going, I found something that represents me in the animal kingdom as much as possible. Also,
put a little hat on the pig.
And explains the Animal Farm references. Obviously.
So let's talk. All right, let's talk some news here. I enjoy the cat talk. We start with cat talk. Then it's tomorrow is the 3-year anniversary of January 6th. And the question I have, I tend not to curse, but I should hear, why the fuck is Trump not in prison? Like, I mean, how can this be that it's 3 years since January 6th? Over 450 people who Trump incited are in jail. Like, that's how many. They got prison sent, some of them for 20 years, 2 decades. The Proud Boys, he said, stand by and stand back. They listened, they did it. And he's out there and he's not even charged, which I don't really care as much that he's not charged with insurrection or inciting the insurrection. But how could it be 3 years later that the closest trial date, if we're lucky, is probably May or June, because the one in March is definitely getting put off because that case is on hold right now. So I'm seeing Hal, I see you nod. What's your take? Is this just normal? Am I just everything's law and order?
Well, first of all, I think we look throughout history, and you'll see that a lot of soldiers get tried for war crimes well before the generals and certainly the leaders of the countries do. They tend to live out their days like Pol Pot in exile in a comfy bed, right? That's habitual throughout human history. On top of this, though, I think strategically it makes a lot of sense for both Merrick Garland and the DOJ, because you have to chip away at his mythology before you put him in jail. Because if you just, on January 7th, if they'd have put him in jail, it would have been instant legal martyrdom for him. And we would have had a version of Jan 6 every other month at state capitals. All the little lone wolf idiots that we're seeing would have blown up into much bigger groups. But what we've seen over the last couple of years is you've seen his standing as far as how much money he has start to deflate, the civil case eating away at that, the multiple sexual assault charges and stuff, the E. Jean Carroll case circling back through that. A lot of the people that used to automatically defend him and would have on January 22nd of 2021, had Biden just immediately given an order, have all backed away. I mean, they all kind of tiptoe around it, and they're like, I don't know, what about this Nikki Haley lady? That, you need that before you throw them in jail. That's how cults work.
Liz, what about you? Do you think that it's the normal pattern, or do you think that rich white men are able to get away with it, or you think other rich white men don't want to put other rich white men in prison?
I think he's been sitting on the toilet the whole time. Like every tweet he sent, every press conference he's done, if you scroll down, he was on his toilet and he's just been telling people I need 5 more minutes. That's what I'm sensing. I don't know. I think he has money and he can delay stuff. To me, that just feels like everybody else, like all his, minions and soldiers don't have the, he's dwindling and losing lawyers and competent lawyers, as we can see over the last couple of years, but he's still, it's a delay tactic and a delay tactic and a delay tactic. So
Liz, are you saying that he wasn't honest when he said he would financially and legally defend his supporters who got into trouble with the law many years ago?
I would never say. I'm just saying he's on the toilet. He can only wire so much money per,
Venmo daily limit, right? Venmo has a daily limit. So
there's some people that it's just lost in, however the internet works.
Well, look, I've been pretty well documented in my show and my articles about my frustration with Merrick Garland. But look, Jack Smith has been fabulous. He's done a fabulous job. I'm not going to go back and relitigate the past. And I think Trump will get. Do you think, honestly, Hal, do you think there'll be one of the criminal trials will happen before November, most likely the January 6th case, or you think everything gets pushed beyond the trial?
Ultimately, November? With his supporters and with the big backers in the Republican kind of elite that finance a lot of these campaigns and that he needs his money from, the only one that matters to them is the classified documents case. They, honest to God, they don't care about any of the other cases. They certainly didn't give a crap about him being a serial sexual assaulter. They certainly know that he's full of shit financially. But the one thing that really, I saw a major shift in the tone and tenor of articles and attitudes after that case came out, and just the egregious misuse and the obvious conspiracy that he engaged in with Waltine Nada and these other dipshits, Keystone copping themselves around Mar-a-Lago, carrying boxes of documents to his office so that he could take stuff out in between pictures where he had stored it, hide it in his desk, and then put the box of pictures back, and then defraud his own lawyer and lose attorney-client privilege protection because he engaged in that. That part alone, they're like, holy shit, this dude, it cannot be, we knew he liked Putin, but we thought it was just because, arrogance, and he kind of liked the idea that you could have that kind of power. No, he definitely, there's either something on him. There's some reason why every meeting he walked out with, Vladimir Putin, he looked like he just had a proctological exam. He's like bent over and sweaty and walking a little funny, and there was no one else present. Like it made everybody nervous. Now it's like, oh shit, well, he was sent on a gathering mission or something. He's like the dumbest spy in the world.
By the way, just earlier this week, Trump amplified Russian propaganda in their new textbooks. I'm not even kidding. In the 11th grade, it says Donald Trump won the election. The Democrats stole it from him. And Marjorie Green loved it and shared it. Then Trump amplified that. So they're literally amplifying Russian propaganda on Truth Social. And whatever. It charges, and the espionage stuff, Trump is charged with over 30 counts of violating the Espionage Act, not the Classified Documents Act, because there is no Classified Documents Act.
Right.
It's called the Espionage Act. And if our media would actually say he's charged with 33 counts of espionage, that would be so much better. But that's
I agree.
Too much.
Especially because we watch so many spy things. Like, just speak the language that everybody knows.
Talk
about
pop culture language.
Shit.
You're right.
But doesn't this feel like, so I'm reading a book about the mafia. That's where I am.
What's
in
it
my
called?
life, right?
Interesting.
The Five Families. It's like a 900-page book. And
I knew 3 of them. No, I didn't know.
The 3 of the families?
I went to school with 3 of them here in New York and Jersey. That's the Bonanos, the Gambinos, the Genovese. Yeah, I know them all.
The book is incredible. My dad yelled at me because it's 900 pages. And I was like, I can't carry this around because I'm a slow reader. I was like, can you cut it up into 4 sections? He was like, how disrespectful to the author. I was like, I bought a book. Let me, however I read it is how I read. Nobody buys books anymore. Regardless. That what I've learned so far in my little project on my own is that the mafia got away with so many things, the gambling and the loan shark or whatever, but it was tax evasion. You know what I mean? Was the thing that took down so many of the mafia. And, I believe, like, seeing what was the thing that came out this week about him and, his businesses and foreign money and blah, blah,
getting
blah.
money from China and Russia while in the White House. Yes.
Yeah. So it's like, to me, it's like you kill somebody, nobody cares. You sexually assault somebody, nobody cares. But as soon as you mess with money, all of a sudden, and that's how, so there's a part of me, because they are a crime family. That is where I feel a little bit of hope, is that we want our money. Like, you're going to have to give us our money.
By the way, Liz, I just got an email from the author who wants his book back because you've been
right.
Your dad contacted me. Imagine the author does not. Excuse me, your dad contacted me. Can I see my book? What did you do to my book? Here's your $29.95. I'm going to take that back.
First of all, there's no way that book at 900 pages was $29.95. Secondly, that's not a book. That's a set of encyclopedias all like stuck together. In terms of him, rich and buying his way out or manipulating the system or whatever, whether they're going to want like him for tax evasion on the 7.8, that was actually, Raskin and those guys brought that up through the payments made while he was in office. And we all know about like empty floors of his hotels that were bought out by foreign governments and all that kind of stuff. But he got a $17 million payment into his secret Chinese bank account while he was in office. And this is the most fucked up part. He took 15 out in cash while he was president. Like, he transferred that money. It's not even a mystery. It ended up being in the disclosures. First of all, what billionaire can't just sit on $17 million in an account somewhere until he's done doing the gig, right? Like, honest to God, you need that money that bad that what the hell is going on? Like, so it seems even more like a payment. And that was right after he killed TPP, the Trans-Pacific Partnership, which China was after. And there was always, people were flooding against it near the end of Obama's term, but ultimately Biden has recreated it in another form, and it was meant to be a bulwark against China's like industrial hegemony in the South China Seas, and seizing all that water and seizing all that land and seizing all that productivity and muscling out these other small countries. And Trump goes in and goes, nope. And then $17 million just shows up in his account that he needed. And it's not even like, hey, here's a tip. Like, he was like, oh, good. Okay, I can pay some bills now. Odd.
No, it's remarkable that what he was able to get away with. I've written about so many articles based on the reporting of Crew, which is an ethics watchdog in the White House. Not even this stuff. I'm talking about like trademarks for his daughter Ivanka's company, while the dad is literally lifting sanctions off of, I think it was ZTE, the Chinese telecommunications company, owned in part by China. He lifts them, and then the next, like 2 days later, she gets trademarks. It's not even,
yeah,
it's not,
they don't even pause it. Right.
No,
they're not,
like, oh, that came in. Okay, let the trade. It was so
totally
in our face. And I would talk to Democrats in Congress who would come on my show about it. And they were like, look, we're focused on Trump and what he's doing, not his daughter stuff. And I get it, because Trump was doing big stuff. But I can assure you Republicans would have made time, as they're doing for Hunter.
The Hunter stuff? Yeah, right,
yeah,
please.
So.
But let's be abundant. Like Carrie Lake put out, like, was on some dumbass like Newsmax show or something, talking about how the fact that she thinks that they, probably the Chinese or the Pentaveret or the Illuminati or whoever, the cabal of baby eating lizard people that runs the world, whatever Q nonsense she's running this week, only they know who is them, released COVID to get Trump out of office.
Right.
Okay. So this is their new / old. They do it a bunch of times. You know what I mean? They release it not to kill him, but to ruin his chances of reelection. Right. And my retort to that has always been like, okay, you're going to say this was a bioweapon attack, right? China attacked us while Trump was president. And his response to the world's largest bioweapon attack in the history of humanity was to sell the people who did it the largest order of beef, corn, pork, and soybeans in American history, while Americans were in food lines in June of 2020.
I'm with you.
And then take a $17 million check from them. What? All right.
We chatted with Hal Sparks and Liz Millian. By the way, Carrie Lake will be co-hosting my show next week, because I bring it's Lake and Obeidallah in the morning, or is it Obeidallah and Lake in the afternoons?
I don't know.
Like that. Some kind of
get some Vaseline for the lens. You get a fresh thing of Vaseline, some petroleum jelly, I guess.
Do you guys remember Tootsie? I mean, it's a long time ago, but it's like, can you pull back a little? He goes, how about Cleveland?
How about you feel about Cleveland? Right. Knock it off.
Right. That's what it reminds me of. And so,
best part of myself. Sorry.
Right. By the way, Liz, with your book, the Mafia book, do you carry around a 900-page book? Because I'm getting it. No. You don't have to show it to me. I trust you to have it. No, because
I cut it up. This doesn't have a cover
at
all, because this is the middle section of the book.
It's the sketchiest book to me. No, what I was at, I have the Rise and Fall of the Third Reich, which is a really well-written book. It's great. The problem is, it's got a huge swastika on the cover. So it's really hard to walk around New York City carrying it and trying to read it. Like at my gym, I'm not even kidding. We have a roof. I have to hide the cover, because I don't want people up there to go like, that guy's reading Nazi propaganda. No, I'm reading the Rise and Fall. I'm emphasizing the fall part.
Yeah.
I'm not even kidding. Why didn't you have a swastika? Couldn't you say the Rise and Fall of the Third Reich? It's a huge swastika. Like, I'm on the team.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, that's nuts. I don't know why anybody did. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's very eye-catching. But
the Tibetans thought so.
One, you're not gonna resell this book, so go put a bumper sticker on it, put a cat sticker on it, or do what they did. You know, like when I was a little kid, we would put a paper bag to cover the book so that it was protected. And now you look mysterious on the subway.
Dean Obeidallah is reading erotica on the treadmill.
Exactly.
You can't even show the cover.
I have my Nazi book covers I could put over it. That's kind of
yes. You put it like a more like an updated, like hippy dippy Nazi cover.
Yeah, right. Yeah, well, some sort of random like Proud Boys manual. By the way, it's the Horse it's the hook cross, not the swastika. The swastika is an Indian / Tibetan word for the actual symbol that they stole. And that's, and I know I'm going to lose this battle. It's like trying to bring back the Chaplin mustache. I understand the Nazis have fucked up comedy and Tibetan culture forever, but it's kind of the hooked cross part of it. Also, why, if they're going to show the fall of it, why can't they just show like Hitler's burned corpse?
Yeah,
right. But they want to tell us how we got there. The rise of it's actually been more relevant than I thought it was going to be, given what Trump has been saying recently. I'm like, I read that in the book. I'm like, I know that's page 126. He's going like this.
No, it's a Hollywood remake. Everything with Trump is a fucking reboot. No, it's like everybody's like, it's just like, this is just like what happened with Hitler. They put him in jail and then he came back stronger. Like he wasn't 75 at the time. He wasn't drug addled on Adderall and benzos and like, I don't know what the hell else he snorts, marzipan and cheeseburgers. And he's, and like Hitler was at least a relatively young man during that 40s, shit.
Right.
Yeah, right. Trump is a fucking mess. There's no version of this where 13 years from now, he gets people back together and starts touring again. No.
I'm chatting with Liz Miele and our friend Hal Sparks. All right, one last political thing, and then we'll go to some other stuff that's, I'm not sure if it's more interesting or not. It's just different. But so we've got a situation now where Nikki Haley and Ron DeSantis have vowed to pardon Donald Trump, even though he's not guilty, wink. But if he's convicted of crimes, they're going to pardon him, meaning he's not held accountable for his crimes. And I know that GOP base loves this, but how can they say they're about law and order in any way? Or do we just call hypocrisy out to keep our own sanity? Because it doesn't really matter. There's no rules with them. So Liz, let me start with you. The idea of saying in advance, he's not even been convicted, but both DeSantis and Nikki Haley, like, are they giving us like a wink to us? Like, it's not going well for him. He's going to be convicted, but we're going to save him. And they want the base to be like, all right.
This is where I'm confused. I don't understand where you're running against somebody, right? It's a competition. You're running against somebody, but you have to cover your basis that if you lose, you'll still work for him or his base will still care about you. But the truth of the matter is like, we all have seen the pattern. He's never on your side. He never helps you. He never cares about you. And he already doesn't like Ron. Like, I don't like, there's like 18
That's never coming back. Totally.
Yeah. Like, you want to sit him down and show him, like, I feel like every woman should sit Ron down and be like, he doesn't like you. He's sleeping with someone else and he's calling you these nicknames and he's making it very clear that you're never going to get married. Like, so to me, I don't actually understand that thought process at all because I mean, Nikki is doing kind of the best. I don't know if like last time I checked, she was the one out of all of them.
She seems second now. She seems to be like sort of in second place.
Second. And you know what? Eminem came second in a rap battle and nobody knows who was number one. So good for her.
Wow.
I'm not
Robin Williams came in second in the San Francisco Comedy Festival, famously.
There you go.
Right.
Number one doesn't always mean that you're the best. So Nikki, have fun. But I don't understand maybe not be ruthless because, you know, that doesn't come across well, but I don't understand the idea of trying to keep the base while trying to show people that we're past Trump. So I don't understand it.
Well, yeah, he's not going to, you know, there is no version of this where like Biden, he tries to fold people that were against him into his administration so he can take criticism from within and they can hash things out and actually have a party. The Democratic Party actually exists in that form. In terms of Trump, he's going to, anybody who isn't in 100% lockstep all the time is either a current enemy or is suspicious from now on. And he literally blathers about loyalty from Ron DeSantis all the time. Same thing with calling her bird brain. And he was like, you gave her goddamn job. You put her in her position in your cabinet. You put her in he brags about getting DeSantis elected governor. And he's like, he was way behind. He was terrible. He wasn't going anywhere. I'm like, yeah. And according to you, he's the worst person on earth. So what does that say about your judgment? Why would I want you anywhere near government if the only people you ever pick are people who allegedly turn on you later? Are you just like a Benedict Arnold factory? The hashtag the best people stuff never made any sense. It certainly doesn't now.
Hashtag best people, page 148 of the rise and fall of Hitler.
Right.
He had the best, but loyalty was big, right? But see, here's the thing about Trump, Hitler, Mussolini, whatever. They call it the mendacity of these kind of right-wing people. It is, it's cliche. It's so redundant. It's so simple. Like they all do the same thing. It's not like really Trump is copying Hitler. It's the simplest, most base thing. And you go, that's it. That's authoritarianism. It really is. Every worst instinct you have in you, that's Trumpism. Like it's right there. Every bad thing that you fight, and you might not even fight it, but you're like, this could be what I could do. I'm never going to do this. That's what Trump, that's the id that's wild over there. All right. So let's take a break and shift gears. We get Jimmy Kimmel, who I'm on Kimmel over Aaron Rodgers, who's just a jackass and doesn't stop. A lot more. And they've got a trailer for a new horror movie involving Mickey Mouse because the copyright is expired and
on
more.
Steamboat Willie. Right.
Steamboat Willie, exactly. Specific to that movie. So let's take a break. We'll come right back with more of the Dean Obeidallah Show on our friend Hal Sparks and Liz Miele right after this. And welcome back. Dean Obeidallah Show. We're continuing January 5th, the first What Just Happened of the year. Our friends Liz Miele and Hal Sparks continue with us. First of all, Jeffrey Epstein's documents got released. Alan Dershowitz only appears about 125 names, but in his defense, 130 times, he was his lawyer, but at the same time, it's so funny that every interview of Dershowitz right now is like, what did you know? I didn't know he was bad. And I actually heard Dershowitz say a few days ago, he literally said on Newsmax, I wish I never met Jeffrey Epstein, which I'm sure a lot of young women are saying the same, have said the same thing over their lives, but it's a little different. But then you got Bill Clinton in there, the line about he likes him young, and more. Trump is mentioned about we're going to go call on him up with Trump. Anything, Hal, from your take, any of this really going to have any legs, or this just?
Yeah, no, I went over when this broke yesterday. I was on the air, and so I went through a lot of the lists of it. I put the flight logs up when they, a lot of this stuff is just repeated. It's, it's stuff that's been out before, but there's a few more that have been released because there's some Jane Does still in there that are keeping, God help them, they're, keeping their identities as secret as they possibly can in the midst of all this. And then there are a couple of people like flight instructors and techs who worked on the plane who are like, I don't want my name floating around. All I did was service planes at this particular airport when they dropped it off, right? That kind of stuff. So I get that this, and also Epstein clearly used famous people, specifically men, but not always, because he had Naomi Campbell and others or whatever. He would use them as cover, like, look how many celebrities I have around me. And there was a period where after he got a couple of these folks on his plane, everybody else wanted to be on the plane. It became like a Sam Bankman-Fried kind of moment where like, oh, okay, this guy's a donor. He's mixed up in the right circles. But it was the guys who were in his little bubble that were part of it, and knew what it was all about. Like Wexner, the guy who gave him his apartment in New York, the $70 million apartment for what, $1? Some nonsense like that. Okay. Dershowitz got a massage at that apartment, that house. It's like a 3-story.
Yeah, it's not, I think it's on the Upper East Side. It's not far from what I live.
Huge. Yeah.
Never been there. My name's not in the documents.
Right. You know what names aren't in any of these documents anywhere? Biden, not a one, not James Biden, not Hunter, not Joe, not Shemp Biden, not Curly Biden,
Bobby Biden, no Bob, no.
Yeah, no, Bilbo Biden, none of them. There's not a single Biden in there. Trumps are all over the place though. But Dershowitz also, besides the fact that he got a massage at that house, which I don't know if you've ever been to one of your friends' houses. I'll open this up to the panel in general. And they've gone, hey, would you like to go upstairs and get a massage in one of the rooms of my house? The answer, by the way, it's trick lights. The answer is no. I'll take a spa certificate. You want to send me to, whatever, Burke's or whatever the chain or Massage Envy? I'm cool. Give me a coupon. Put them in the, next to the key thing in front of the door. I'm not getting one in your house. That's so weird. And
no one's ever offered me a massage. No one's even raised the prospect of like, hey, Dean, if I were to offer you a massage in the house, not me, but someone else, would you say yes?
I have a masseuse over, and do you want to go upstairs, take off all your clothes in my house, and have her massage you while she's here? No. And like the fact that Dersh did that multiple times, and then
multiple times, is it true? Multiple times?
Yeah, multiple times. Then Trump still hired him to be his impeachment lawyer. Like, it's not like he became persona non grata after, well, I know now about Epstein and his stuff, so I no longer touch him. I think he wrote that, like, Dershowitz wrote that thing about how the age of consent should be lowered to, like if a 16-year-old can have an abortion, she should be allowed to have sex with whoever she wants. And so he wrote that after everybody knew that Epstein was a pedophile and all this stuff was going on, and Trump still hired him to be his attorney. I gotta say,
are you suggesting Trump?
No, no, fucking no.
Let's go with the question that Hal asked. Have you ever been at a friend's house when they offered not that person to give you a massage, because you could be in a relationship, but they offered to let someone else massage you? That's how a lot of good dates have started. Yeah, right. Like they offered to give, like in New York, hey, do you want to use the other bedroom? I have someone coming over to give you a massage. And if they did, what would your reaction be? I mean, would it be potentially, maybe?
Kind of. I feel horrible. Like, I know that in this context, it's not a real massage, but like they're expensive, and I work out. I do CrossFit. This is always tense. Like, but no, I mean, clearly it's who you trust. And also, like, if I was over at a new person's place and they were like, hey, you want to go over and get a massage? I'd be like, oh, not only do I not, I'm going to go get in a car and I'm going to leave.
Yeah.
But like, if my best friend's like, hey, for our bachelorette party, I got a masseuse and everybody's going to get a massage.
Yeah.
But I'm also a woman, and it's probably going to be a real massage.
That's right.
Unless Alan Dershowitz is giving it. No, doesn't make sense.
There's
a massage place. How much a massage? There's a massage place literally across the street from me that is allegedly legitimate. in every way. I'm not kidding. And they have like signs for each thing. And there are times I'm like, I could use a massage, but I just feel weird going in there because the windows are all like, you can't see into the place. So it is on the east side.
I think it's kind of weird that you want people to watch you getting a massage. Why would you want the windows to not be okay?
Right. That's
why do you want to get? Why does Dean Obeidallah want to be massaged in
I
the store
want a
window?
massage where
I think
everyone
is the
can see
question.
me. Like a store. I want to be at Bloomingdale's.
Gym. Like you want people like on their like elliptical in the window.
You know what's funny? How there's a dentist on like 3rd Avenue. I'm not kidding. And you can see the people they're working on. I'm not even kidding. And they just bring the shades like half down when someone's there, but you can still see someone's leg kicking out in pain. Like, this is horrible. I'm not kidding at all. It's on 3rd Avenue in the 50s.
That's
in
very
Manhattan.
weird.
If you come here, check it out. It's weird.
Genuinely though, with Dershowitz's whole thing about how he proudly went to, I guess he went to Little St. James Island, as an attorney, and he's and then all these flights with Trump back and forth from New York and West Palm Beach. And is it just me, or is it very weird that Donald Trump only lives in places where he could have been a 10-minute cab ride from Jeffrey Epstein's house? Like, there are so many, I'm serious, there's so many rich communities. He has Trump Tower in Miami. Why the hell isn't he, did he move to Miami Island or whatever, like that kind of stuff? Why didn't he even buy a house afterward? Why does he live in rental properties? That boggles my mind. He's got property, his like country club in California. Why not have a house someplace, like, you know what I mean? But he doesn't. He always lives a 10-minute cab ride from Jeffrey Epstein, New York and West Palm Beach.
I live about a 5-minute cab ride from Trump Tower, which I can almost see from my apartment, which I'm giving myself away. I'm going to get swatted, which is kind of hard.
A good idea.
That's the whole swatting. It's insane. So now talking about Jeffrey Epstein. So Aaron Rodgers, people know him as the New York Jets quarterback now, formerly.
You mean the guy who voted for Trump twice, even though there's multiple videos and pictures of Trump hanging out with Jeffrey Epstein and little girls?
So Aaron Rodgers on Pat McAfee's show on ESPN, and they're like, "Oh, the story's coming, the documents are coming out about Epstein." And Aaron Rodgers jokes that, well, there's a lot of people, including Jimmy Kimmel, who are really hoping that doesn't come out. And what happens, the backstory is Jimmy Kimmel has rightfully mocked Aaron Rodgers, his claim about being immunized when which suggested he was actually vaccinated and he wasn't vaccinated, and some other things that he's made fun of his haircut and different thing like that. And so this was his attempt at humor. And response, Jimmy Kimmel said, "I'm going to sue you, buddy." Now, I don't know if he's actually going to sue him, but his point was, do not connect me with a pedophile. That's your go-to humor, you jackass. Mm-hmm. So Liz, as a comedian, is Aaron Rodgers going right to pedophile, sort of like escalating this too quickly? Like, aren't there better jokes he could have done about Jimmy Kimmel?
Well, also, is it a joke? You know what I mean? Is it a joke, or is he trying to, hurt him because he's sensitive and Jimmy, hurt his feelings? Like, I mean, take humor out. I mean, regardless, does Jimmy Kimmel have a case? Probably not. I mean, if he keeps doing it and he can prove, I've learned a lot about defamation in the last couple of months. But I think that's what he's saying is like, keep saying this and, I have the time and the energy, I'll take you to court. But just as a one-off statement, it's just like, hey, I'm making fun of your hair and you're telling me that I'm like, doing a crime.
Monster.
There's a big difference. There's a difference between insinuating crime and insinuating somebody needs to get a better hairdresser.
Mm-hmm.
Right. It's a good point. What about you, Hal? What do you come down on Aaron? Did you like Aaron Rodgers any time? I don't know if you're a sports fan, football fan, or
no. I mean, I tend not to have sports related heroes, with the exception of Muhammad Ali and a couple of others. In general, it's not surprising. There's a bunch of these like dudes who have a lot of money and a lot of time on their hands who have gone straight up QAnon over the years, who have started. They obviously spend a lot of time on their laptop while on the bus or the plane going to these games. And you can just see it. You can see it unfold. You can watch their tweets over time. But he was a Trump voter. He celebrated it after Trump got elected in 2016. Wow. And he stuck with him ever since. The weird part I feel about it is this: he's part of this group. When he brings up Kimmel, it's because of this fake list that was floating around of a bunch of Hollywood people that supposedly hung out with Epstein or whatever, because it was trying to paint the West Coast, especially Hollywood, as being into this kind of Clinton, blood sacrifice, with spirit cooking nonsense, all that storyline around the Pizzagate and all that stuff. They were trying to add a bunch of names, stack people to that. And Kimmel was on one of those lists, right? And that was their attempt to, I think, kind of block out the fact of like who actually is hanging out with him. And who's actually hanging out with him are a lot of either politically connected or ex-politicians. But, when he's trying to work his way into Democratic circles, which was clearly his plan in the early 2000s against when Bush was in office, because he wasn't having any inroads with the money that was being handed out in contracts then. And then, Trump was a partier with him. Like, he sucked up to that dude. That was a social in for him across there. And then Trump got the Miss Teen USA or whatever he was running, and he bragged to Howard Stern about like checking the girls' mouths and walking in on them while they were naked. At the same time, he's partying with Jeffrey Epstein. And Aaron Rodgers voted for the guy that said that and was on video and being interviewed saying that twice. So I don't want to hear shit from him about people that might have been on a made-up list when he voted for the guy twice. Who told it? That video, that GIF, and I'm sure you've seen it, where from that party that Trump and Epstein he threw for Epstein, where he whispers something to him, and Epstein doubles over. And I'm sure Liz will know this experience. When you tell a joke to somebody else and it's too much for them and they laugh, but there's a bit of shame in the laugh, you're like, oh man, that's rough, right? That laugh. That's what Epstein does. Epstein doubles over and goes, does one of these mans from whatever Trump said. You know what it must have taken to say something that makes Jeffrey Epstein react that way?
It makes me think of like my mother, where it's just like, oh, I'm going to hell. And it's just like,
yes,
that, and you're like, whoa.
You made Jeffrey Epstein go, wait a minute, easy, bro.
Oh,
like
dude, I'm trying to get
you made him.
Still.
Yeah, you made him tap out with a joke. Good Lord.
Look, and there's a few more names I think that are still going to come out, and we'll see where it plays out. It's just been remarkable that this story continues on. And I saw a right-wing radio host, I don't want to say her name, saying we're going to be hearing a lot more soon. So that could only mean she's hoping comes on the left.
Can I just say something really quickly? It feels incredibly irresponsible that it's just a list of names and it doesn't say who the victims are, who, like Hal said, is like a guy that's just fixing an engine, and it's like he doesn't know whose plane this is. And then it's, someone's party and there's guests and, what have you. Like I follow a couple like news apps or whatever, and they put the list out and they said like, hey, this is a mix of people. And then they took the whole list down. They're like, hey, nobody's looking at this caveat. And they're starting to be like, you know what I mean? They're throwing
they're saying that like they're painting Naomi Campbell as somebody who like rounded up girls for Jeffrey Epstein or something. Like that's how they're overlaying.
That's what you think. But
I just don't understand why, like everybody knows that's what was going to happen. Why did they release it that way? Like, that just seems really like
legally they had to.
It was a media outlet.
They tried. It was a Freedom of Information Act. And they tried everything to kind of like dole it out piece by piece. And again, there were some names that were still redacted, and there's still people like, again, mechanics and flight instructors and other people that are like fighting having their name as part of this, because it looks like I went through the whole list, on my show, the first drop that came out. We went through it, kind of scanned it, and Trump's on there, half a dozen times in the list that they just put out, including times when he was flying with Marla Maples, and Tiffany was a baby at the time. And that's around the same time he said what he said about her, whether she's got her legs, but we'll see if she's got her breasts. Remember that nonsense when he said that about Tiffany when she was born? That's around that time. That's then. That's, but there's a bunch of things in there where guys are getting checked out on that aircraft. So I'm a pilot, and when you fly a new kind of airplane, you train on it for a while, and then you get checked out on it. You have to do steep turns, and you have to do stalls, and you have to do all emergency landings and stuff. Wow. And there's a bunch of that stuff in there, right? There's a bunch of those chunks of that in there, because it's how that is with every plane like that. Those guys that are involved in that, half of them didn't even know it's Epstein's plane. Some of them are being hired to be a private pilot for whoever. They don't know they're part of a loop of pilots, and you got to get checked out on these planes. And if you're going to fly this guy, sometimes he hires people. You're going to, he flies back in town. If I'm
a caterer and it's somebody's telling me I'm getting paid $30 an hour, I'm like, unless somebody's like, hey, you might get murdered or captured, I'm like, $30 an hour, I'm going to pay rent this month. Like, it's so like inconsiderate.
Such a New Yorker.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, but you know what I mean? Like, it's the same thing that kind of bothers me when a picture comes out and it's just like, did you know this person is with a blah blah blah? And it's like, people ask me for pictures all the time. I now have to look, I have to Google who this person is. Like, that's unfair. Like, oh, this person, you took a picture with somebody that murdered somebody, and you're like, I don't know, they said they liked my cat jokes. Like, everything is a little, like, it just drives you nuts a little bit.
That's for comedians. Like, we are so needy. Like, you could have anyone comes up to you, like, they could be like in a prison outfit. Like, hey, on their way to like a bail hearing or something.
I'm like, I like your onesie.
I love you. Right. They'd be like, no, I like your, I saw you on Comedy Central. You were funny. I'm like, oh, let's take a picture. What are you in for? A triple murder. Oh, well, good luck.
You know.
And you're like, good luck. You're being
Were
funny.
they bad people though?
Right. Because we're needy. That's the bottom line.
Well, what I also think is comedians also, we get a pass. Because unlike, like, actors are almost held sometimes to like Pope-like standards in their behavior and what they're allowed to do if they're caught cheating or any of that kind of stuff. But most comedians could like walk out of a brothel that's on fire, dragging, with a pig in a gimp outfit, a literal pig, and a little person prostitute, and like wearing a shirt, going, "That was the greatest lay of my life," and everybody go like, "You're so crazy." That's hilarious, right?
Well, comedians do have some latitude. So I got to get you guys' reaction. The story is kind of interesting. It's the last story I sent to you guys. There's a 13-year-old in Oklahoma beats Tetris. I didn't know no one beat Tetris. I had no idea. I read the story, talking about art of AI beat Tetris. But beating Tetris is that the machine actually can't function anymore. It's like it comes up 999. But what is odd also, the kid's 13. He's been practicing 20 hours a week to do this. And I'm like, you're 13. Now you won. Can you go out and meet people? And that kind of stuff. Like, are you living a life? I guess there's a way to monetize it because it's the whole gamer world that I'm not that privy to, but it's
just so you know, gamer kids are making millions of dollars.
Oh, they are.
And this kid, I mean, but our amount of money between the three of us doesn't even come close to the millions of these like let's play while a kid is playing a video. Like, I think the biggest person, I think his name is Ninja. Like, one of the biggest people on the internet is a video game let's play. So, I don't like, there's no way in the world that I would make fun of this kid. This kid is, I'm going to work for this kid one day.
So he's actually aspiring to a career, even though he's starting at 13, which he's working. So maybe he lives in Arkansas where children can work now. But the kill screen thing is kind of, I didn't know that. I didn't know that's how you beat it. Like, it actually goes like, stop, I can't compute, and it just like shuts down, and you show that freeze, and I guess it's live streaming so people can play along. You can't, it's not like you won the Olympic, you can't win the New York Marathon by jumping in the subway and going 5 stops up, which happened once. We lived in New York, it did happen once. How do you do it? You're on Twitch, which is a gamer, there are a lot of gamers there. So what
Twitch.tv/HellSparks. How you doing? I actually, I got to be completely honest, when COVID lockdown happened and I started doing my live stream at one point, I think, like a lot of comics, I was booked out for the rest of the year, and my girlfriend and I had just like put all of our savings down on a house. And then COVID hit. And I was like, I got a kid, I got to make a living. So what's my options from the house? And so I knuckled down. I was like, all right, there's a bunch of these like allegedly funny streamers on Twitch and other places. They're making bank. I'll check them out. Maybe they're genuinely funny. Maybe there's room. And I was like, wow, they're not funny. Wow, they suck. I think there's room for me here. And so I elbowed my way to the front of the line and was able to create, a genuine space in both of these places, in YouTube and Twitch, and I got to say, and I'm only at the edge of like growing my stuff. I've only been around for a couple of years. Some of these folks have been streaming for years nonstop. Right. They 11 hours a day. I do, gaming. Yeah. Just gaming.
It's a job, Dean.
Yeah. God. It's a real job. Like, I mean, unless you're, Hamas Abi, and where, he's like eating on screen and playing other people's content and then whatever. Right. But for most of them, the gamers, like they're doing characters.
Is that Cenk's nephew?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he steals people's content all the time. He just sits and plays it, and he's like eating chicken, and other people's stuff is playing. Like, that's robbery. I guess that would be the word. All right, whatever. Anyways,
so for people who are not paying attention, who don't know this world, these young people, like this 13-year-old, and he has his own gamer name. He's going to probably be a millionaire because he beat Tetris now, and
easily.
100%. He's going to, first of all, just the rounds of other gamers, because it's, first of all, what an adorable story. It's a game from what? the 80s. Like
it's a long time. Tetris.
You know what I mean? And I just like you, I didn't know you could win it, let alone someone didn't win it. Like I didn't know anything.
You can crash it is essentially what it is. You can't win it, but you can crash it. Yeah.
Yeah. And that just feels good. I mean, I like to
it's very cool.
blocks and knock it down. That's great.
When I was younger, I would play checkers with my sister, and always losing, I would crash the game by just throwing the board over. So, and on some level, she actually broke checker. No, it's not the same.
No,
that's not the same.
Maturity.
Also, I don't want to be
this
too
is recent. This is over the holidays.
I don't want to be too superstitious about this, or create, a karmic wheel where there might not be one, but it's not a good sign for Vladimir Putin that the Russian-based video game has been beaten by an American preteen.
I will believe you.
This is like Queen's Gambit. This is so fun.
No, I did, and I saw that movie on Apple TV about the whole story behind Tetris, and the guy went to Russia and got the rights to it because the guy just developed it working for a government agency. You're right. And he wasn't a gamer, and they went over. That's the Americans go ahead.
That's shot across the bow. Yeah. That's on to the Russians. That's like sinking 3 of their fishing boats. Yeah.
That's like, okay, you interfered in our 2016 election. Well, we just broke Tetris. What do you think of that, Putin?
Yeah.
I like that. All right. Before we run out of time, I want to give you guys time to plug all the amazing stuff. Liz, are you going back to Europe? Last time we were talking, when I saw you Tuesday, Liz tours Europe all over and keeps building an audience over there. It's remarkable.
Yeah, I actually just had a meeting. So hopefully in the spring, I'll get back to Europe. My goal is to get to a couple of countries I haven't been, like Italy and whatnot, see my people. But I'm in DC next weekend, and my tour starts next weekend. And everything is at Liz Miele. And I'm not joking. I'm having a cat 1-year birthday party this Sunday with my friends.
Happy birthday. What's it? Is it Lunchbox or another cat?
Lunchbox, and then Ghost is right there sleeping.
That's very nice. And what about you, Hal, Mr. Sparks? You have so much going on, infotainment and all that. Tell us what.
So infotainmentwars.com. We don't need the documents. We've got everything memorized. And I live stream every day in the afternoons, 3:00 Pacific time. I will be going live right after we've taped this on with my morning show, which is Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I do a 2-hour show. And then on Wednesdays and Saturdays on my morning show, and my radio show, I have my buddy Philip Bittner comes on. He's in Ukraine. He's in Kiev. So I have my own correspondent, as it were, in Ukraine. So we do an update on that all the time, which is great. And so we're starting to get some regular flowing guests on there, which is nice. Again, Nerd Halen playing LA Kings Fest in February. And then, of course, the Sexy Liberal Tour coming, to a city, if not near you, certainly worth the drive. That's what I would say. And then I know I'm forgetting something else, but because I just have so much going on, the people have to just tune in. Yeah.
Where can people find out about the stuff? But if people want to go to the Stephanie Miller Sexy Liberal Tour, shows with you,
sexyliberal.com/tour. Yep. Okay, that's it. So sexyliberal.com. Yep.
Sexyliberal.com. Check it out. You guys, thank you so much for being on the first 2024 What Just Happened. It's always great chatting with both of you. I wish you the best. I look forward to chatting with you in the future. We'll take a break. Be back.